Everybody, Jeff from Corrugated Cavalier here. We have Bella from the club as well, helping us to demonstrate some of the stuff we've been doing with Abrazare. This will be the first in a series, and this is about gaining advantageous holds. One of the things he talks about in the very opening of the Abrazare section, especially in the Pisani Dossier manual. He also mentions strength and quickness of feet and hands as things that you need. So these are the advantageous holds. We're going to start with a wrist tie, which is just like this. And this is seen in the 6th master where it goes into like a fireman's carry type thing. If you want to think about it in terms of the posta, you can as well. So this would be like porta di ferro because we're down here and we're working a lot with the wrists. So what Bella's going to do is she's going to circle inside and grab my wrist. You can go to the outside. So like I can try to go outside, but then she can just kind of keep pushing my arm out that way, and that's not really good for me, okay? So this is kind of like posta frontale. You'll see it even more in a second. So make sure we do both hands, and then we can do both hands at the same time. And now this really looks like posta frontale, right? If you want to think about it in that way, if you really want to think about it in terms of yours posta. The next one is bicep tie. This is shown in the very first play. So if Bella steps in and tries to grab the collar tie, and this, in the very first play, I'm checking right here with the bicep tie, right? So this is in the very first play. And you can think about this like, oh, I'm going to actually say posta longa here. You'll see why in a second. So go here. I'm actually going to say posta longa here, even though the hand's not high, because I'm pushing this into her hip after that. Cool. And then other side. Yeah. Great. And then you can do both again, so you can get this going as well. Cool. Next one is over-under pummeling, and this is an underhook on the underside of the arm here. And if we turn around, she's got an underhook on this side and I've got an overhook. This is seen in the 9th play Gambarola, and it's all over the place really, but this is a place where we have this exact setup. And what's going to happen here is I want the double underhook, so I'm going to try to index my thumb to my pec and dive this under, and she's going to do the same. And you notice our heads are trading side as well. If you don't move your head, it will not really work out. Cool, that's over under. Next one is collar tie. So I'm on the back of Bella's head, she's on the back of mine with dominant hands. This hand is in my elbow, trying to gain some control over it. This is seen in the first play as well when the assailant steps in and grabs the collar tie, okay? And this drill kind of starts to take shape when I try to go for a double. She doesn't want that, so we start pummeling collar ties as well, okay? The last one is an arm drag, and this is not necessarily explicitly shown in the manual, but a lot of the dagger stuff shows this, or something really close to this, and it's an easy way to get into body locks, which are seen in the grappling section as well. So if Bella puts her, that's why I'm going to start on this side. I'm going to wax off here, grab underneath, like all the way up into the armpit if I can, and toss this arm to the side. This hand can't come off the wrist once you've got good control over here. You can add another thing after that if you want, but just getting the arm drag and go to the other side. Eventually, once you get good at both sides, you want to mix it up. So like if Bella starts, just randomize, and you can start going for the body lock. And once you get good at that. So now Bella's randomizing, but only once you get good at it. Once all that is comfortable, we can start moving our feet around a little bit. So let's go with bicep ties. Let's double bicep tie. Let's start moving our feet around. And it's still a cooperative drill, right? Cool. And let's go over under. And we're going to start moving our feet around a little bit. And you can also start, how can I move my opponent around? Can I turn? Can I back up? Can I try to step around? Once you get that going. Same thing with collar tie. You can start, what happens if I take a step and then pull the stabile? What happens if I just back up? And this will naturally start to get a little bit more competitive. So get the basics down first, then start getting your feet, and start trying to move each other with these as well. You can also start free pummeling, so you can start with wrist, and so I just go for anything. But you're not really going for techniques, just trying to get an advantageous hold, like Fiore says, right? So now I've got collar tie and an underhook, which I feel pretty good about. You can kind of free pummel. And the last thing I picked this up from Ian Davis of Boston Abrazare is if we're free pummeling and somebody says go, on the last step of this, we're kind of free pummeling, somebody says go, I'm going to look for a technique when they say go. And I didn't get it quite where I wanted, but now I'll get it. That's okay. Thank you, Bella. I learned a lot of this stuff from Jason Cook of Exiles New England and Ian Davis of Boston Abrazare. All right, thank you, Bella, very much. Appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions down below. There are a lot of other thousands of videos on these pummeling drills on YouTube as well, so you can go check them out. I can give you recommendations if you want. See you, everybody.